Now, I think that we can all agree that Bob Iger is by far the worst Disney CEO of all time, and I think that there's a lot of other reasons. We really can't cast all blame on Bob Iger. We gotta really look at some of the board of directors, and to even go deeper, you have to look at the top shareholders. Yes, we're talking about Vanguard and BlackRock, probably the worst of them all. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that the stars of Snow White 2024, such as Gal Gadot, as well as Rachel Zegler, who portrays Snow White, are having quite a bit of a rough time with Disney's higher-ups, including Bob Iger, the CEO himself, for various reasons. There's a lot of things happening right now between the mess over at Disney and the damage control that is taking place behind closed doors to overall, tame the backlash, to tame the overall fallout of the Snow White leaked photographs of the 7 dwarfs that actually got out a couple of weeks ago. Now, what's interesting about all of this has a lot to do with Rachel Zegler herself. Now, you guys may or may not know this, but Zegler is very egotistical when it comes to her role revolving around Snow White. Now, given that, yes, she is an up-and-coming actress, she really hasn't been in all that much stuff. She's been in Shazam 2, and she's also been, of course, in other projects out there, on and off. But this one, she's looking at this one to be her big break in Hollywood, essentially. That's why she's getting very defensive over Disney and getting very much standoffish from fans or the general public that has issues with this iteration of Snow White. Now, given that Snow White 24 is going through many adjustments by Disney in response to the backlash and leaked photos of the 7 dwarfs, however, one major development has much to do with actress Rachel Zegler getting into multiple problems with the situation for Snow White 2024. Zegler and her agent are currently having issues with Iger and the board refusing to pay Rachel a specific margin of income for when Snow White begins to stream on Disney Plus in the future for 2024. This is the, of course, main ongoing drama between Zegler and Disney after she did go on the record as well on how she believes that she should be paid for every hour that it's streamed online. This was actually brought up to Disney via Zegler and her agent as well, and Disney refused to even consider that way of thinking. The other main issue at hand is that Bob Iger and the board are now going through with altering the ending of Snow White 24 that was all focused on Zegler's portrayal, where Disney is now moving ahead with deleting an entire scene in which Zegler sings as Snow White as she prepares for battle against the evil queen, where she suits up in white armor that was created by the 7 magical creatures. So let me just stop here quick about this. Now, it seems as though that they are trying to literally kind of create symbolism of why she's going to be called Snow White in the upcoming modern take on this movie, is that toward the tail end of the show, or the movie I should say, she's going to be encased in this white-esque armor that's going to battle against the evil queen. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this kinda low-key reminds me of what they did with the Alice in Wonderland remake, where she's like in that knight armor, and similar to what they also did with the modern take on Snow White and the Huntsman. So there's a lot of different things that they're borrowing from, seemingly, and kind of throwing it into this 2024 iteration, which I think a lot of people out there are going to have issues with this, let's be honest here. The fact that they're trying to make a literal piece of symbolism why she's going to be called Snow White in 2024 with this white armor to battle against the evil queen portrayed by Gal. And the fact that they are going through with deleting an entire scene where she sings a song with the 7 dwarfs about preparing for battle to face the evil queen and taking on her father's overall spiritual belief of becoming a leader and facing your fears, etc., etc., that's the overall message that Disney wants to throw into this film, that They don't want to actually focus on the whole Prince Charming and true love aspects. They want to focus on, you know, facing your fears, rising up to become a leader. Even ZEGLER and both Gal really confirmed this in the latest EW interview that resurfaced on Twitter some weeks ago as well. So that's been going around, that's been circling. But what's interesting further, this is where, of course, more problems begin to rise between ZEGLER and Disney. Let's discuss. Now, on top of this, alright, the song that was deleted was about rising up to become a leader and adopting her father's spirit and beliefs to take down the evil queen. This is yet another song that Disney is moving ahead to delete as they want to minimize songs used in this movie as it was getting closer to becoming a full-on musical. ZEGLER had major issues with this development since she liked the idea of this film being a semi-musical by Disney, which was the original plan that is now getting axed. This was all approved by Bob Iger and the board, and ZEGLER is having an ongoing battle with them to actually pause on dissecting this movie since she believes the movie is going to be her big break in Hollywood. ZEGLER is even getting an ultimatum, or giving one, to not participate in the sequel since no contract was signed between herself and Disney, so she can walk away with no consequences at all. Now, I don't know about you guys, but who in the world would even want to see a Snow White sequel? To begin with. Like, who would even want to see something like that? The fact that they are pulling a Rian Johnson here, similar to what they did when they announced a Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy prematurely, before The Last Jedi even debuted in theaters, it's the same exact thing with this. They are prematurely moving ahead with greenlighting projects that head into early development that go nowhere and just take up space for other projects that should hold potential. Now, as we discussed yesterday, there is this ongoing Disney lockdown, temporarily speaking, of course, for all the live-action remakes as they brainstorm new ideas on how to handle them. Now, we know that we have a lot of other iterations of Hercules in the works, Lilo and Stitch, Moana, The Sword and the Stone, and even Sleeping Beauty. That's just to name a few, by the way. We also have The Hunchback of Notre Dame in the works. Those all are a part of the Disney lockdown right now because they are trying to put that on a deep pause to figure out how do they handle those projects and how do they best adapt them into live action material. So the other problem that Rachel is having with this movie is the fact that they're also going to be dialing back on the way that she's going to be presented in the official trailer that's set to debut by September 8th to the 9th. Like, right around that time frame is when they want to debut this thing. That's next month. She doesn't have much longer until I believe the backlash is going to get even worse, especially if the 7 dwarfs are going to be portrayed even in a single frame in the upcoming trailer, mind you. They may have watered them down in the upcoming footage, but they're reportedly still going to make some form of an appearance in the upcoming official trailer. So be prepared for that. I think it's really going to bring you back to what happened in July, where everything erupted after those leaked photos surfaced. It wasn't just people, even the media was calling out Disney, and even other actors and actresses, especially ones that have dwarfism, were really angered with Disney and had issues with what they did and how they're basically sending a message that people, you know, that can get those roles, can't get those roles. That's kind of like what Disney is saying. So, anyway guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.